Good morning, everybody. So before we get started, I thought I would share with people. So yesterday I received some new supplies. I'm going to be making some new drums in the next couple of days. So I got some new hoops that I'm going to be working with. So this is an 18-inch. I have a 12-inch that I need to make, which I'm excited about. And then I've got like a 14-inch and a 15-inch. So I've got a couple of commissions that I'm making. I also have this whole mule deer rawhide. So in any case, I just thought I would show everybody what I have. So over the next few days, over the next, weekend and into next week, I'll be making these drums. So I'm super excited about that. So my plan this morning, and I just want to thank everybody for joining me. Sorry, hold on. Okay, I just wanted to thank everybody for being patient with me on Wednesday. I had some things come up. So I'm going to try to be as consistent as possible, but sometimes, it's hard. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit of what's been coming up for me over the last few days. So as I continue to work with these drums, what keeps coming forward is this whole idea of, we've been talking about learning how to tap into our intuition and trust and listen to our intuition. We've been, talking about how to connect with our guides and with our ancestors. We've been drumming some, which is what I'm going to do in just a little bit. So I'm going to drum for you guys today. Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited that y'all are here. And here's the thing. So when, there was a time in my own personal practice where I was looking for answers, right? Like I was in a place where things had sort of gotten to a point where I was sort of sick of my own shit, I'm just gonna be honest. Like I kept what I felt like making a mess of things in my life, and it was at that time that I began to actively look for ways to shift this, right? And I was in a particularly crazy part of my life that I had created for myself because that is what I was used to doing. It took me some time, a lot of time, to learn how to manage my energy properly. I was very much the bull in the china shop for a really long time. And after, creating sort of dramatic blow up after dramatic blow up after dramatic blow up, I just, I became tired. I became tired of the patterns I was creating. And so from that, I had heard, many years before, Spirit told me, even before I really understood how to listen to Spirit or, what that voice was all about. I heard from Spirit, you're going to be a yoga teacher. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I don't even practice yoga regularly, So when that moment came that I, was like, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough of what it is I'm creating in my life. This isn't working. I've got to find a different way. I started seeking out a different path. And so that's when I found the North Carolina School of Yoga. It's when I found my yoga teacher. And for, anyone who knows me well knows that that experience of going through that training was, yes, it was life-changing on a positive level, but it was also, there are words that describe the type of organization that I was involved with. From the outside, that it really lends itself to people who, it really lends itself to people who are in a vulnerable spot. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. And it's been a theme that's shown up for me throughout my life, that when I am in a vulnerable situation, I am receptive to the point of like being open to just about anything that will come into, and this is in the past, I'm not talking about now, but I'm talking about in the past, right? Those times are really, really sensitive and important times to pay attention to. So huge life changes. So it could be the change of a relationship. It could be, either the birth of a new family member. It could be the loss of a family member. It could be a change in your, in your professional, anything that's major like that. What I have found in my own personal experience is it puts me in a vulnerable space. And when I'm in that vulnerable space, I'm looking for, and I'm looking outside of myself for information and support and that kind of thing. And so that, my path has been perfect for me. But what I notice along the way is that some of the most radical teachers that I've called into my life, whether they actually are showing up as what we call teacher or facilitator, or whether that teacher is someone that I'm in relationship with in my personal life, I called them in during a time of vulnerability. And so I say all of this because had I had the skills at that time, and granted there's no way that I would have had the skills at that time. I just remembered that those earrings, they hit on the microphone. Anyways, if I had had those skills at that time, then obviously I would have done something different. And the path that I have walked has paved the way to where I am now, and it's been perfect. Every aspect of it. But when I look back, what I see is that anytime I was looking outside of myself for someone else to help guide my way, I call them some really interesting energies. So I say all of this because one of the things that came up in a conversation with a really close friend of mine, Katie Southard, yesterday, was this idea that, everyone knows, anyone who's been working with me knows that I am a huge proponent of these, right? These drums that I make, and I talk about them all the time, and I'm always, I play the drum all the time, and I reference them all the time, and they've become a focal point of my life. Here's the thing, and I may get into a little bit as to why I'm talking about this, because so much has come up over the last week that has shown me and validated my intuition so deeply. And so anyways, so these drums, what they do is they, the quote that came through to me yesterday is that, when the drum is the teacher, it always takes us home. It always takes us home. The drum has no agenda, has no personal stake in what we do or do not discover. It doesn't, human beings, our natural state, we're perfectly imperfect. We're perfectly imperfect. So one of the things that has always really been important to me as a facilitator is to remember that yes, and the drum absolutely is the heartbeat. It always like brings us home. You know, human beings, myself included, we have our own personal opinions, our own personal leanings. And when it comes to spiritual guidance, it's very easy for people to put facilitators and teachers up on a pedestal. Put them in a position of thinking that they know more than they do, right? And the reality is that just because someone's been down a path a little bit longer doesn't mean that they know more. They maybe just have navigated that and have gone, but ultimately we all have access to the same information. And it's always been really important to me that people understand and definitely don't look at me as a, well, I can't control how people look at me. But it's very important that people understand that humans are humans, and we have agendas, and we do things, and we make decisions, and sometimes those things are in alignment and sometimes they're not. And it doesn't matter if you're a spiritual teacher or you're a contractor. It makes no difference whatsoever. And so I'm watching some things happen in a spiritual community that I was once very much a part of, that it just really supports like what I have always felt, which is the true teacher is here within you. If you ever are putting someone else in that position of being your guide, I can, not to be a naysayer or anything like that, unless you are fully understanding that like we're all human and people do what human beings do, right? You can't it's a big thing. And I've been watching some people really suffer recently when their teacher, as far as they're concerned, let them down. Like who they thought that person was isn't who they turned out to be. And that can be heartbreaking for someone. But when we go home directly and we aren't putting someone else in that position of being our guide, you don't have that issue, right? You don't have that issue. And this is why I feel like the drum is such an amazing sacred object, because it will teach us the way home. It teaches us the way home. That's what it does. So anyways, I always caution people, we can pick up the tricks from each other. That's what we're here to do. We pick up the tricks from each other, but never for a moment forget that we're all just human. We're just human. And I promise you, I will disappoint you at some point. I will make, you know what I mean? I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about any teacher, any guru, any, healer, any whatever. Never forget that we're human. It doesn't matter how quote unquote enlightened we think we are. It doesn't matter. So just, keep going home. Keep coming here, because what you find out here is never motivated by any other agenda or any other, other than the fact to connect with your inmost self, what's your highest self, right? You carry within you absolutely everything that it is that you need. And if anyone ever tells you otherwise, that you need that person, or that like you can't figure it out on your own, or like you're ill-equipped, you better run for the hills, my friend, because yeah, that's no. Anyways, so from one human to another, I say all of this because I hate seeing people that I care about suffering. from being disillusioned by, things that have happened. And I was asked by someone recently, how is it that you have, made the path that you have, that you did what you did for as long as you did, and then you left and did something different. And it's because I heard that that's what I needed to do. And so I listened to my inner guidance, and it continues to support that I don't need to know why. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's not for me to know. It's none of my business. My job is to listen to the information that's coming through and to work with it in the best way I know how in that moment, with that compassionate courage for myself, because I'm not always ready for the information that I receive. That's the other thing. Sometimes I get information and I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm going to have to do some things before I'm ready to take that action or let that pattern go, or, whatever it is. Now, with that being said, I will say I have had some all of my teachers have been incredible. And when I realized and I recognized that as I approached them as a peer, as an equal. I always see myself as an equal to anyone that I'm working with. I will always honor and obviously show respect. I am very good at being a student. Yes, that's also too. If someone tries to tell you that there's only one way or one path, that's right. Absolutely. For sure. These are red flag situations. And I'm telling you right now, we are in all of us are vulnerable right now. We're in a time of complete upheaval and change. Everything is turning upside down. We're transforming, we're transmuting, we're upgrading to a degree. We're watching things disintegrate and fall apart and all of these different things. And so I bring this up because this is one of those times that we have to really be on guard and pay attention and listen, because we're going to be, of course, we're going to be seeking to find the path and all of that kind of thing, to gain clarity. So how is it that we do that? How do we gain that clarity? How do we hear the truth for ourselves? Because my truth is going to be different from your truth. And it's not for me to lay my truth upon you. I can share with you my experience, but you have to question. You have to see, you have to find it for yourself. You have to test it, and that's the whole thing. My stubbornness, my rebelliousness, those qualities have been the things that have kept me protected. They really are, because I'm very difficult to control. I'm very difficult. I can be, and I have been, and I will say that. With the right formula, under the right circumstances, I have made that agreement to surrender some of my power. And I did that for whatever the reason, and I had to move through those teachings. And that was some of the hardest aspects of my life. I created that for myself. But now in retrospect, I have some more understanding, or not maybe understanding, but some more knowledge for myself about how to pay attention to when that can happen. Anyways, you are your own guru, your own guide, your own healer, your own facilitator. We help each other. We hold space for each other. We pick up the tricks from each other, absolutely. But yeah, always go home. Always go home. That's the most important thing. So, okay, that's what I have to say about that. I love you guys, and I really appreciate you, showing up and continuing to support me. And it's, it's funny, I'm feeling a little bit emotional. It's really important to me, You know, like I said recently, and when I was having a conversation, I think it was actually the podcast that I did with Alicia. I'm always trying to work myself out of a job, you know, because that's like, we're always going to be here to support one another. But like, when we have gotten to a point where we've unlocked our own ability to heal ourselves, and that is some powerful shit. It's very powerful, and that is it's my prayer for myself, and it's my prayer for everyone else. You know, that's if that you know, when and that happens, or the more that happens, the happier I am. So anyways, that's my rant for this morning. So let's do a little drumming. Okay, so let's close the eyes. So this drumming is for whatever it is you need it to be for. I'm not gonna set a specific intention. I just want you to allow it to be for whatever it's for, whether that you want to meditate and sit quietly with your eyes closed, if you want to dance around in your kitchen, I don't, you know, it's whatever. Do what you want to do with this. It's for you. It's for us. Call in and on all of my guides and my ancestors, all of those who hold my highest good and well-being at the forefront. And call in all 7 of the directions: east, south, west, north, above, below, and within. Call in all the elements: earth, air, water, fire, and ether. And I'm going to call in the distance Reiki energy, so that's flowing through this drumming. And I'm also going to just call in the immense and deep gratitude that I have for everything that has brought me to this point. And my gratitude for all of you and for every person who watches this. Thank you for being here with me. just take a few moments, either if you're starting to come out of meditation, or if you're finishing up dancing in your kitchen, or whatever it is that you're inspired to do during the drumming. I was hearing so many things while I was drumming. This whole idea of utilizing the drum to better come to know ourselves and understand ourselves and to find that wisdom that we all carry is so much about finding those places where we are relinquishing our power, our authenticity to something else, to someone else, to a belief, a program, anything that is not in resonance with us any longer. And the more you can find those things, and the more you can develop the necessary qualities and characteristics to move through those and compassionately and courageously liberate yourself, because that's really, I've come to understand that's what my life is about. It's this constant opportunity to liberate myself, to wake up and to determine for myself what's true. How do we hear the truth? How do we know the truth when we hear it? I have found this tool to be one of the most powerful allies in that for me. So, in any case, as always, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you joining me and on these inner guide meditations and teachings. I look forward to coming back with you all next week. So I hope you all have an incredible day, a wonderful weekend. And if you have questions, comments, thoughts, things that you would like me to touch on, I'm going to be doing some blog writing this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyways, I love you guys. Hope everyone is doing well, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. I continue to offer healing sessions, private healing sessions, whether it be Reiki or yoga or intuitive readings or some combination of all of that. So if that's something that speaks to you, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm continuing to take orders and make drums. They come in daily, orders for drums right now. So that's really exciting. So if you've been wanting a drum, a custom drum made for you, please let me know. Or if you have a drum that you want custom artwork done, sacred, intuitive artwork done, please, reach out. Okay, well, I love you guys. I'll see you next week, and have a great weekend. All right, bye everybody.